Okay, everyone, welcome to today's show. We are going to be talking about alignment and, more importantly, the power of alignment and the benefits of alignment. Now, you might be thinking, what do you mean by alignment? Well, there's a few things it could mean. It could mean in your business or in your organization or in your personal life. If you've got goals and things you're trying to achieve and milestones you're trying to reach, then having the alignment of your team, possibly, or other individuals within that sector that you're working in, or do you know if it's personal goals and you're trying to achieve something from a physical aspect, or do you know people that have been successful and aligning with them and helping you achieve your goals. Now that's what we're going to try and dive into today. And do you know, when I was thinking about alignment, Jim, and it's something that you said a few times, is you sometimes consider yourself a bit of a lone wolf. But in order to be successful, you need to align with like-minded people and people within the industry you work in, or whatever, or your personal goals you're trying to achieve, to help you achieve them. I mean, would you say that's definitely a big thing that you've learned over the years than trying to just go it alone?
First of all, God forbid if there's anybody that thinks like me. That's what I would think to myself. God forbid if there is. And probably, yeah, you're right. You're not wrong in saying that. I mean, the fact is, you do have to. I think it's you have to align with other people in order what their goals and aspirations are, and see if it fits into what yours is as well. So
Yeah.
that takes a wee bit of time to find these type of people. It's the what I talk about all the time. It's about getting the unicorns, finding the unicorns, the people that will work with you. Will be outstanding for to work with you, and that takes time, that takes effort, that takes a lot of probably a lot of discipline and doggedness, I would say. Stubborn, I think.
Yeah, and I would say along the way, in anybody's journey, if you're trying to, align with the right people and things, you'll possibly along the way align with the wrong people, and that could pull you off track. But I think the important thing is to really recognize that when you do, and obviously push yourself back in the right direction with the right people.
Well, will you ever recognise that? Some journeys you just have to take in order to prove yourself you were right. It
Yeah.
is wrong to do. It's kind of just going, well, I'm going to have to climb that mountain to prove that I can climb that mountain, but also to learn a bit about myself at the same time. So I'm going to do it even though I shouldn't do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And it also comes into the power of alignment. One of the things I actually heard, which was pretty profound this morning, was in a podcast. It's like, let's date stamp this. This is 2026 at the
Yeah.
very beginning. So happy New Year to anybody out there. But the most important thing is, what are you gonna achieve by the end of 2026? Now, this is a fantastic way to do it. What most people do is they work, if I can get this right in my head, they work on the principle of deficit.
Okay.
Deficit goals. In other words, what I mean is they're always running in deficit, which means that every day you get up, you keep beating yourself up about something you should have done yesterday. And you didn't do it. And that's how a lot of people work, myself included. And I've now begun to realize, wait a minute, that's not how you should be working, because you're constantly unhappy and you're never content with yourself because you're always beating yourself up mentally because of the things that you should have done yesterday, and you're always running in deficit every time you get up in the morning. So your day doesn't go according to plan because you're never fulfilled by the end of the day because you're always running in a deficit in terms of what your goals were meant to be. So
Yeah,
here's the
that makes sense.
challenge. Here's the challenge. Here's what you need to know, and here's what you need to do in order to solve this situation. When you get to the end of 2026, take a pen and a paper to do this and write this down. When you get to the end of 2026, the end of this year, what will make you feel fulfilled and happy with what you've done in 2026 by the end of 2026? What will it take to make you feel fulfilled and happy at the end of 2026? Write it down now.
I'm writing this down, by the way.
And then that's what you aim for. That's it.
Do you know, people overcomplicate it, because that to me that sounds really simple, and I've already thought of two things, and I thought, right, if I get
Because
that,
that's
and
all
then
you that's
yeah,
all you want to do, Richard.
mhm,
All you want to do is get to the end of 2026 and think to, because this is how other people work. I posted during the Christmas New Year period about the fact that I do not work on that principle. I work on the principle of a 12-month perpetual list. In other
yeah,
words, I'm always a year away. I'm always at the end of 2026, if so to speak, perpetually all the time. So as one day goes by, another day gets added on. And I'm always doing that. Now, I am always technically chasing myself to the end of it, but I'm always reflecting back and then saying, did I actually meet? I mean, I talked to somebody about in 36 years' time, I will automatically be worth 100 million or more.
it's amazing.
In 36 years' time, I will automatically be worth 100 million or more. I know that. That's a done deal.
Is that like a combination of
I just
where
need to
you,
sit and do nothing,
where you project
not interfere.
your businesses to be, and your wealth to be, and obviously inflation and all these different factors?
I just need to sit and do nothing, Richard, and don't interfere. That's it. It's as easy as that. I just need to learn not to interfere and actually
Mhm.
do nothing and just keep the train on track, or the
On the
ship
track, yeah.
on in the right direction. That's all it is. That is mental to think that. But then that's how I became an automatic millionaire. Because I knew from when I started, from the standing start of homeless,
Mhm.
unemployed, I knew within a certain period of time, I will be an automatic millionaire based on what I was doing. It was how quick I was going to get there was based on how little I interfere with my plan.
Yeah, you see a lot of people that try, and they've got something that works, and then try and add other things in, or go away and do something different instead of
Aye,
concentrating on what works.
let's
Yeah,
do service accommodation.
yeah,
Let's do student lending.
yeah, see
Let's
a
do
lot.
flips. Let's do. It's like, oh my God, for God's sake, just stick to the one thing and do outstandingly well. And you're an automatic millionaire as a result of what you're doing outstandingly well, because you
Mhm.
know the income that you're going to bring in every single time you do it. It's a foregone conclusion. And yet everybody lets it get in the way. And it's called life.
Mhm.
Just gets in the way. Life gets in the way, unfortunately. I
It
say
does.
unfortunately because it's like, this is an
Well, it does.
automatic spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet. This works. And all I need to do is follow this exact spreadsheet. But the thing that gets in the way is life. And that's okay. I'm not saying it in a negative way. What I'm saying is in a perverse way, in some sort of weird way, life just interrupts you and stops you achieving what you want to achieve, because that's just what happens.
Mhm.
It's the hand you've been dealt with. It's the things that you can't control. And it's how you react to the stuff that you can't control is what the most important part of life is. It's how you, I'll say it again, it's how you react to what you can't control is the most important part of dealing with life itself and becoming successful at whatever you want to do.
I could relate to that a lot, and it takes me back to when you're talking about like running in a deficit type thing in your mind, because you continually think about things that have passed and things that you've done, and letting them hold you back, but you can't change them. So just move on. Do you know, that type of thing? And that's where life gets in the way, because your mind's letting you procrastinate about things that's past. And like that deficit thing's definitely something that a lot of people will suffer from. And I've been there
Most
myself. Still do
people,
it, in fact, sometimes.
most people at goal set work on a deficit principle.
Hmm.
They work on they should have done more the day before than they did do. Here's a great one. Habit forming is so important. James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Yeah,
If you've not read that book, you need to read it.
I seen you
It's one
pushing
of
that
the
out on one of your posts as
it's
a good
one
bit.
of the most important things that anybody can do to set themselves up at all at any point in time. It doesn't need to be the start of the uni year. It doesn't need to be anything. It could be halfway through the year. It could be now. It could be next week. It could be a week before. It could have been any time.
Hmm.
You just need to start. How do you think a marathon runner becomes a marathon runner? And we marginalize this. We make this so insignificant, this important thing. In order to become a marathon runner, you have to take the first step. Because the first step is so infinitesimal, it means nothing. It's just one step.
Word of the day.
We write it off completely.
Yeah.
We write it off completely. It's not that important, and
Mhm.
we procrastinate and we never do it. And yet it's only one step. But unless you take that one step, you'll never be a marathon runner.
Yeah, because you don't start off running a marathon. Yeah.
Unless you automatically put savings away, you will never become a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never be rich. You'll never be wealthy. You'll never have wealth. You'll never have the money because you've not disciplined yourself to put away even £10 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about, yeah, for people that can't get started in saving, £10 a month is actually significant. It's not the money, it's the principle of doing it.
Yeah, and it's not always easy for people, but there will become a point where you get that point of readiness. And like the savings thing as well, you know, when you get to a point where it's like, right, I'm overspending on a lot of things. And when you actually realize and look at yourself and look at your own position and think, right, what am I actually spending money on here? And personally, in recent months in the last year, I've realized I'm in a really good position. I've got 2 incomes coming in. We don't have children. We don't, and I'm like, I'm in a brilliant position here to like really. But it's like it's
and
like
that probably holds you back.
Yeah, but it takes that time to sink in until you realize, and it's like point of readiness, and then you think, God, why have I not been doing this the way I'm doing it
And
now?
that probably holds you back, Richard. And here's a really good one I heard the other day. Gary V. This is how I look at it. Gary Vaynerchuk was actually saying, if you're making $1 million a year, you're crushing it. And I'm like, am I? I had no idea. If you're making $1 million a year, you're crushing it. And I'm like, really? I just thought everybody did. And it's like, do they? Wow. Am I? That, for me, that is weird. And
so you're doing that, and you didn't actually even realize.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people though, it's because you've got to that point where you've earned it, and it becomes normalized because you've worked towards it, you've dreamt it, you've bought into it, you've had the book, you've got the T-shirt, you've run the video, you've been in the film, and if that makes sense for anybody out there, and that's why then you start to think it's right, okay. I just thought everybody did that. It's kind of like the cliff shuffle. If the runners out there know the cliff shuffle, which is the farmer that was running about in the field in his boots, and he decided to go in for one of these longest marathons in Australia or something like that, and the guy was called Cliff, and he actually beat the record by a record amount, and he was in the worst workwear and shoe wear that he could ever wear for running, and everybody laughed at him in the beginning, but he actually broke the record by about 3 days. And then he found out, you were actually meant to sleep in between. I had no idea. And that's why he broke it by 3 days, because he never actually slept. Nobody told him he was meant to sleep. He just assumed you just keep going until you finish. And I think that's what happens to a lot of really ultra successful people. It's just normalized to them. Musk, Bezos.
It just becomes part and parcel of what they've been working towards and doing, and it takes somebody on the outside to maybe point out to them, like you're saying about somebody saying, "Oh, right, okay, is that where I am? God, I didn't realize." Yeah. And
when they get into and when they come into a situation and then automatically walk into a room and automatically they get everything done for them, and it's like to them that's normal. And if they don't get anything done for them, it's like, what's going on? It's like, why is this not happening? And I think that's what you have to realize. So when we come back to the power of alignment, I mean, I digressed and I went off the road there a bit.
Yeah, but it's all
But we've
relevant,
come back to the power of alignment. It's having the right team on your side in order to help you achieve that goal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to come to then. And obviously, people will have their businesses and their, their organizations and things they're trying to run, but you can't do that until you've got a team, and not just any team. You do need the right team who share to a certain extent your visions and your goals. I mean, if people are working on your team and you don't align in terms of what you're trying to achieve and your passion for what you're doing, then that could become problematic, definitely, because you're not all striving to achieve the same thing.
Yeah, you're pulling different directions. So we've all seen if you haven't seen it, look up the two horses, the picture of two horses pulling in the opposite directions against each other. Nothing happens in between because they're cancelling each other's energy. But when you have two horses pulling in the same direction,
yeah,
they can actually pull more than they can pull individually with the two of them pulling. So the sum of the parts is greater than the individuals in terms of power to do that. That's why having a team and having shared visions and shared goals and probably having and collaborating with other people and having other people's trust is the most important thing. The Clash, Joe Strummer, The Clash. Actually, I've got a T-shirt from Joe Strummer, The Clash, and he has "Without people, you're nothing" on it. And he's right. Without people, you're nothing. Because, and I suppose it comes back to, what is it, Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
When Clarence actually writes in the book at the end, he gives to Jimmy Stewart, and it says, without friends, something to do with the fact that he has friends is truly wealthy. And that's, I think that's the most important point. And your friends, and the thing that excites me the most is some of your friends you've not even met yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of people still to meet.
Yeah, some of the people are going to take you to even bigger heights you've not even met yet. They're probably not even of age that they can work yet.
Yeah,
they're probably at school still.
Yeah, there's a lot of young people that's come into our business and things like over the years, and it's like, God, these were at school when we were doing this, and
yeah,
you know,
but these are the people that are going to take you to, to the moon and to the stars, definitely. And you don't even know them yet. Think about it, when I was 20, you were just born.
Yeah, I know.
So think about that.
Yeah.
The logic of that. That was 20, and that was me first starting to get myself together and starting to study and, become an accountant and actually contemplate my life. And literally, when you were just born, I was homeless, unemployed.
See, I mean, you've obviously got a lot more experience with building teams, and you've put together lots of teams throughout your businesses and things over the years. And something that you've pointed out to me, and although we've worked together for a long time, and you've taught me a lot, I'm still very different when it comes to business and and you've said that over the years, regardless of who it is and whether you do align, everybody will do something slightly different, and you kind of just need to step back and let them do their own thing, although as long as they're still in alignment with what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, because you can't just completely clone somebody and make them do exactly the same as you, because everybody's different slightly.
Well, yeah, I've learned the hard way. And I know it's a lot to do with the fact that they work different ways, but they still will get the end result the same, or more or less the same. So, yeah. and then they have to make their own mistakes as well in order to learn. Sometimes you've just got to climb that mountain to realize it wasn't the mountain you were meant to climb.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds daft, but through failure comes success. Because show me anybody that's never failed, and I'll show you somebody that's never succeeded at anything. They're probably a critic, by the way. More than likely. Somebody that's never failed is probably a critic, because they like criticising everybody else, but they'll never go out their own comfort zone, but they'll still like picking on everybody else and seeing everybody else's faults.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like the proverbial ladder thing. Like sometimes, and you could see somebody climbing the ladder, but but obviously they're kind of on their own journey, and it's like really you're going to get to the top of that ladder and realize you should have been on this wall. The ladder should have been up, and on the other wall.
I've
So,
done it. I've sat and spoke to people and says, "Do you realise what you're doing, where you're going with this, and all the rest of it?" The next minute, they're bust. They're out of business, and I'm like, "Did I say I told you so?" Well, no, I don't.
No,
They just had to learn for themselves. That's that. I've seen that. I've seen that quite a lot of times where I've actually tried to tell people, I know where this is leading you, but they won't listen, and that's fine. They'll have to find out for themselves and do their own journey. It's the hand that they have to play.
yeah.
But when you think about it, if you align everything, and what will happen out of that is, remember, it's. Let me give you an example of alignment with other people and getting people to work with you. Let me give you an example of this in a really easy form.
Okay.
Michael Jackson couldn't be everywhere in the world when Thriller was released to do that. So what did Michael Jackson come up with in order to be everywhere in the world? A short film.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thriller the video. Then
Which
Billie Jean the video.
goes.
And then Beat It the video.
Mhm.
And then, he realized the power of sending a video is just as powerful to do the work when you're not going to be there.
Yeah, because especially when like global success like that, you can't be everywhere in the world at one point in time. Well, you can with video.
Yes. So what does this teach us? Attention is more important than marketing. Attention. Yeah. And that's what video does. What do you think this video is doing?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that's watching this right now, in the moment, fair enough, you'll see it. But anybody that's watching it later on, you would have never have seen this if it hadn't done video. Attention.
This could have just been a conversation between us two.
Yeah. Views, attention, all the rest of it. That's what it is. He who gets the most attention, he or she, makes the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Irrespective if they're good or bad.
That's an interesting point, and I think that's what a lot of people, they think, "Oh, I'm not good at that. I can't do that." But it's not about whether you're good or bad at it. It's about drawing the attention to yourself.
I'm going to say something controversial. Donald Trump.
Yeah, definitely. And he's a
Nigel Farage.
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk. They've all had their, I mean, you're a love or hate person. They're Marmite people. Either love them or you hate them. There's no in between with these people. But imagine, they are some of the most successful and probably wealthiest people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Don't kid yourself. Farage isn't doing this for the good of his heart.
Yeah.
There's money to be made, and then there are hills. And he's out mining diamonds and gold in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's like the Trump thing, whether you like Trump or not, or whether you believe in what he stands for and all the rest of it, everyone talks about him. He's always topic of conversation.
Of course he is. Aye, we're not going to destart this even more by talking about what's going on now with these people. But it's like that's mental. And when you look at them, it's yes, you think to yourself, how will you be able to live with yourself? It's like they don't care what other people think about them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. They're not remotely interested until it becomes to an election time. That's when they care. And all of a sudden, they're a new person and they've solved everything. This is what happened. This is what we call, this is politics, really, in essence. Even though some of them are actually not involved in politics, it's always politics anyway. It's just discussions, debates, back and forward, and eventually there's some sort of consensus arrived in the middle where it works for everybody. And that's what I think. When you go back to the alignment about employee engagement, about having people, you win them to your way of thinking. Clive Gillum, who was the financial director at Beaufort PLC, who was my boss ultimately when I worked for him, But he actually said that to me on the day I left. He went, Jim, you've got to understand it's all about winning people to over to your way of thinking. And I was like, that's bullshit. It's like, now I'd go back and thank Clive and think, you were absolutely right, Clive.
Right,
it is about winning people over your way of thinking. Because I was just I'm a lone wolf, and I always have been, and I have to learn not to be I have to learn to have a pack, you know, and like we're
not trying just do it alone.
We're a pack together, and all the rest of it. You know, that's what I have to learn to do. It's I don't know. Is it against my nature now? Probably it isn't, because I've learned to do that now.
Yeah,
I've learned to be that type of person.
Yeah.
This is where when a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you can't change a leopard can't change the spots." Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Practice and habit stuff and things like that, you can do it.
Deep down, their core beliefs might not change, but what they do can change, and their core beliefs might gradually move. I mean, when you first started being able to vote, do you have exactly the same opinions that you had when you started to vote for the first time than you do now? No, you don't.
Probably no.
No, you don't. Nobody does. Anybody that does has been living under a rock for their whole life. You don't have the same opinions, because what you thought was right at that time was based on the circumstances and what it was like at that time. Basically the pitch that you were playing on, the football pitch that you're playing on today, you know, proverbially, is not the same pitch. I'll give you a really good example of that. Somebody said to me on social media, Adam Lawrence actually, Adam put on a post that said, it's unaffordable today for the younger generation to be able to afford a house, as it was for us in the 1980s. And this is a syndemic result of house prices just going up. And I went, no, it's not.
No.
Because he asked me agree or disagree. I went, no, it's not. In the 1980s, we had something called an interest-only mortgage. We also had 100% mortgages. We also had financial advisors who weren't really regulated that much. We went, yeah, you've got a pulse, you'll get a mortgage.
Yeah. without jetting your situation.
Yeah, we had that. We also had financial advisors that were prepared to say, this guy's on about 10 times his income, and nobody would ever check. And that's how we got a house when we first started in the 1980s, until the financial crash. And then it was like, no, you've got to do capital repayment mortgages now. No, you're not allowed 100% mortgages anymore. And in fact, when we were going, it was 120%. Mortgages.
Yeah, they were doing 120. Yeah.
But so the rules have changed and the criteria has changed now. So the majority of people who could have bought, who can't buy today, I bet if I took them back and applied the same criteria in the 1980s, they would have a house no bother. They'd be able to get a mortgage no bother. It's because the red tape and the rules have changed of the game. It's nothing to do really. Maybe house prices have gone up, but salaries have gone up to match as well, and percentages of income have needed to be more because it's capital repayment rather than actually interest only.
It's interest only, yeah.
I bought a house there now, interest only, and a buy to let, £93,000, two bedroom, two reception. It will rent for 600, 650.
650. We were doing that one.
And I'm like, really? That much? Wow. My mortgage is 247 quid a month. Interest only. 75% loan to value. That's a no-brainer. 600 quid, 247 quid mortgage, cha-ching. Huge amount of costs to cover overheads and keep everything going. I've got a huge risk adversement there. In other words, the downside has been played. Interest rates would have to go up to about 14% before there'd be a problem. And if that did, we'd all be going to hell in a handbasket.
We're all in trouble, yeah.
But I've just demonstrated clearly, if I had the same interest only, and actually interest only on 93,000 times 0.04, £310 a month.
Mhm.
That's all it would cost somebody. So £310 a month times 12 is interest only 3,720 divided by 0.25. Somebody would just need to earn 15,000 to have 25% of their income to go in that. That's half the average salary in Scotland in order to buy that property.
And if
On
you
the
think
old criteria of 100% loan to value and 100% mortgage and interest only.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
And if you
It's
think a lot of people, first-time buyers are couples, so they're more than likely going to have two incomes qualified on.
And who said that your first house was meant to be a house? What's wrong with flats?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to live in a house now, and they want a beautiful garden. And it's like, wait a minute,
You have to start. Yeah.
you've got to start somewhere. This is where you've got to start somewhere.
This is what
You've got to start somewhere.
I've just been having this conversation with my nephew and explaining to him, you need to save, you need to do this. And do you know, where we are 65, 70,000, you got a decent 2-bedroom flat.
It's mental. And that's what I mean. It's like, no, I want to buy in St Andrews. But St Andrews is an average price of 300,000.
Yeah.
It's like, you're only on 20 grand a year. It's, you're never going to be able to afford that. Oh, that's not fair. I should be allowed to buy anywhere I want in St Andrews. I was born there. Hey, reality check, whoever you are. Live within your means or do something about it. Don't expect everybody else to pander to you.
The living within the means thing is a problem, I think, across the board for a lot of people, because everyone just wants to spend and live out with their means and not save and not think about the future. And I think it's going to come back and bite a lot of people because the world's changing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are called consumers. I am a producer. I am not remotely interested in being a consumer. Not remotely interested. And that's what I mean about, the old photograph you see Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and the wee adage underneath saying, not a Gucci belt in sight, to the richest men in the world.
Yeah.
Bill Gates, Warren Buffett actually just retired. His return on investment was something like 513,000%. 513,000% his return on investment. That is mental.
Yeah.
What's he going to do it? He's going to give it all away. Give it all back. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Then that kind of question, I think we've touched on this before. It's like, why did he start the journey in the beginning? Do you know, a lot of people think, well, I'm going to do this, so I've got lots of money and I could buy lots of things and go nice places and do all these things. But he doesn't do all that. So it's like, it brings to the question, so why did he start the journey in the first place? Was it for the journey or was it for the wealth?
Loves the journey. Probably loves the interaction. It allows him to get access to a different playing field that no one else can get into, or a different club that no one else can get to.
Gives you a different platform.
It's the ultra rich, the billionaires. When Warren Buffett picks up the phone, people answer.
Yeah.
Presidents, royalty, whoever that is, they'll answer because of what he's achieved. Not because of who he is, it's because of what he's achieved. This is what a lot of people forget. They get to a huge high status in life, and then suddenly they take a drop because, and then they expect to be treated the same way. And it's like, whoa, but you won't be treated the same way because you were treated like that because of the status that you had attained as a result of what you had done and achieved, not because of who you were. It just so happens it was you. That was it. It's like a classic example about when people lose their fame and pop stars and their celebrity status, and they lose all that, and then they go to the drink and the drugs and everything else that comes with it. But it's like the drink and the drugs contributed to that in the first place, and then they had a slow spiral down to where they are, and everybody started leaving them because their success no longer was something that attracted them towards them. And then and it's because they thought it was because it was them. It's not them. It's what they've achieved. It's what they've done in the world. It excites people and attracts people. It's got nothing to do with them.
Yeah, whether that's, movies or music or, things like that. That's what attracts people. It's not the actual individual.
That's why people align.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I align to them. Why would you not want to hang out with billionaires if you want to be a billionaire? Flipping heck, that's the right place to be. Hang out with billionaires. Some it'll rub off on you. You might actually become a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Get around what they're saying. Find out how they tick. What makes them work. What works in their world. If they've got a book, buy their book. I wouldn't say an adage about this. Buy their book. I would say buy someone's book that has already achieved that track record. Don't buy someone's book. It's writing a book in order to achieve that track record. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In other words, I'm going to write a book to become super wealthy about being super wealthy.
Yeah, you would write a book about being super wealthy once you're super wealthy.
Once you're super wealthy.
Yeah.
And then tell people how to become super wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the book I'm interested in. If I want to learn how to be a more caring and understanding person, whose book do you think I would read? Probably Jay Shetty.
Okay.
Dalai Lama. Somebody like that. Mother Teresa. Maybe I'd look at their lifestyle and what they did and how they did that, because they were super caring.
like a humanitarian and that kind of
If I wanted to have a book on, if I wanted to work on relationships, would I find somebody that's super successful at relationships and read their book, or would I just read a book about relationships of someone and maybe just wrote it because it's just a book on relationships, but has no formal like
experience
success in relationships at all? Aye, it's a classic example about a lot of the people on podcasts are now going on about the fact that when you have a family, it's the best thing you'll ever do, and all the rest of it. And it's like, wait a minute, all you lot are single. You've made kids.
Yeah.
How would you know?
You couldn't advise on that without experiencing it and being able to speak.
Honestly, you can't make that up. But it was actually on Steve Bartlett this morning when I was listening to the podcast. He says, yeah. And the majority of us don't have actually kids at all.
That's crazy.
None. So you've got to look at this is what I was always taught by my mentors, and it really goes in with alignment as well. It's take a good look at the person you think is super successful and you want to be like, and actually think to yourself, what is it you like about them, and what is it you want to be? And are they actually in alignment with what you want to be? Or are they not? Because it's amazing how you like someone and they start to give you advice. And it's like, but wait a minute, you're broke.
Yeah.
How could you give me advice on how to make money?
The same as mine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember telling my mother and my father one day and said, look, Mum, Dad, I appreciate you, love you and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, you ain't a millionaire. What could I learn? How to be a millionaire from my mum and dad? Don't think so.
Yes, you need to turn your attention to people that are going to help you be able to achieve that.
Absolutely. Sometimes they're the ones that hold you back. Watch what you're doing. Be careful. It's like, wait a minute, I'll go and speak to someone who is and done it and has done what I'm trying to do already, and see if I could find out for them if what I'm doing is the right track. And I'll tell you what, if you speak to people like that, they'll probably go, I tell you what, I'll invest with you at the same time. Because they want to see you succeed, because they'll succeed as well.
Yeah, when it comes to like family and parents and things in particular, I think they're always the ones that want to maybe not see you get hurt or not see you fail or wrap you in cotton wool. But you kind of need to do that to succeed. So that's probably not the best place to get advice if you're trying to be successful.
One of the things I've learned as a parent is be careful what you say to your children. And it is the classic example about remember and phone me when you get there. It's like, what, do you not trust me in driving then? Because that's kind of what you're saying, isn't it? By the back door, you're not actually saying. It's like, oh, be careful. Be careful with that person. It's like, what? Do you not trust me in my judgment about relationships?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know this person, and I know them more than you do, so why are you saying be careful?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because you could by saying something like that plant the seed in their head, like, oh, you don't have any faith in me or trust in me, or and that could be quite detrimental.
Yeah.
Without you even realizing you're doing it.
Most important lesson I learned when I was younger was when you send your kids to school, have a fantastic day and do your best.
Yeah.
That's it. As long as you come back, and I used to say to them every single time, as long as you come back and you know at the end of the day you've done your best, that's fantastic. But have fun. That's all I used to tell them. I knew I used to follow that advice myself. But I knew that's what they needed to hear. It's like, what? Because I knew fine, attainments and exams and all the rest of it wouldn't make a world of difference to where they're going to be in 40 years' time. That'll not make any difference at all, because what you do at school will be entirely different to what you end up doing in 30, 20, 30, 40 years from that point in time. It will not, you will not need it for anything, really, what you learn at school. You'll not need it for anything at all.
Yeah,
Unless you're going into further education, that's the only reason you'll need to learn more at school and be absolutely fantastic in certain subjects. Other than that, lean into what you're really good at, what you excel in.
Yeah. I always hated the what do you know what do you want to be question. It's like, I don't know. Like, I'm 15. I've not got a clue. They should have been saying, what are you interested in? What are you good at? And pushing you in that direction. But you're not. You're pushed in, what do you want to do in terms of like I'm going to make a decision about my career for the rest of my life now, when I didn't even have a clue about the world and how things work properly yet. So no, that's crazy.
But at that time, you didn't know, you didn't have a clue about the world.
No, but when I look back now, I think that's why I hated that question, because I didn't.
Yeah, and there's people that still are vexed over that today. Even people my age, when you say what you want to achieve by the end of the year, where do you want to go for your holiday this year? They have no idea. The drift, and that's okay. They want to drift. They're quite happy with that. Somebody has to do it. We're not all the same, and somebody has to be there. Somebody has to run the big, huge, multi-million-pound organisation. Somebody has to wash the car. Somebody has to sweep the floor. Someone has to do the laundry. Someone has to do the ironing. That's me.
Yeah. Somebody's got to do the windows, and I know what you mean. Everybody's got their place and their purpose.
Honestly, it went through my mind last night. I thought I was that bored with Christmas, New Year. I was like, maybe I should do the ironing.
Yeah, it does. Do you know the Christmas and New Year break thing? I mean, it does eke out a bit, and it's like, I mean, I was working anyway and doing things, but I just thought, you think back to when you're younger and you would love this like 2-week period, and it's like, no, I've got other things to do now.
I have never liked holidays.
Yeah.
I've liked holidays where I've gone on holiday now to exotic destinations, lying on a beach, getting a tan, getting a walk, getting relaxed, getting to try all the different types of foods and stuff like that. And I think that's what I like about holidays now. But when I was younger, I used to detest school holidays. I couldn't bear it. I was like 2 weeks in, I was like, we're not going back to school yet. And I think it was a lot to do with interaction with all my mates at school. I loved it, but they were too far away in the holidays. You were never really around anybody. They were, because you were at high school and they all came from different areas. So in order to get somewhere, you'd have to get on a bus and go all the way about 10 miles up the road, or 5 miles up the road, 6 miles up the road. And that was just at that time, it wasn't really that accessible where we lived. Nowadays, it's easy. You want to go to Edinburgh, it's like you're an hour in Edinburgh on the train.
Yeah, the train's brilliant.
Literally fall out your bed and you're in Edinburgh.
I know.
In my time, I had to get in a car and drive up the old rickety road. A92 was never there, and it took you about 2 hours to get into Edinburgh. And then once you were at your work, it was like it took you another 2 hours to get back at night. You were traveling 4 hours a day in the car.
Just for your commute, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, and you were burning all that petrol and all that time. Time was the most important thing. And you thought to yourself, is this really worth it for an extra 2,000 or 3,000 a year? This is crazy. I'm just going to take something. I'm going to fall out my bed in the morning and arrive at work
for a wee bit less money. Yeah.
Yeah, fine with that.
Because you save just more time and hassle. Yeah.
Time was more important. I would never have built what I built without having time.
More time.
And time was the most important commodity to me. And it should be to everybody. You will never lie on your deathbed other than say to yourself, I wish I had more time. It's the only thing you'll ever say to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You'll only regret having no more time. That's it, really. Nothing else will flash through your mind, probably. I would imagine that is the case.
Yeah.
You never go, I wish I had more money. I wish I had more things. I wish I had a car. I wish I had this Ferrari. I wish I'd bought that. It's like, no, you'd be fighting for your life at that point in time, saying, I wish I had more time.
More time, yeah. But that kind of brings me nicely how I wanted to round up today. And obviously, we spoke a lot about alignment through business and organisations and things as well. But you talk about time and having more time, and a really important part of any journey is your own personal development and your health, and how aligning with the right people to get that right is so important. I mean, you're on your own journey just now, Jim, where you've got a goal of where you want to reach in terms of life expectancy, and what you've just picked up there is your juice thing. And I always think about how years ago we went to a conference and it was Jason Vale, and that's where the Super Juice Me, that's where that all started. And look at what you're doing now. So you obviously seen that and thought, this guy knows what he's talking about. And well, look where you are now. And your health's so important, because if you don't have your health, you don't have time, and it's all worthless. Yeah.
This has evolved from what was a high-speed juicer with a gold delicious apple and a lemon, which was lemonade. You made through that, to what is one of the most nutritious drinks you'll ever get. You'll never see this on a shelf, a supermarket, because it tastes disgusting. I'm all right with it now because I'm used to it. But anybody else, it tastes disgusting. But it's the most nutritious drink you will ever get in your life. Nothing will come close. AG1, eat your heart out. This is far superior.
But do you not, because you've obviously committed and you do that as part of your daily habits, as you do that, you're juicing. Do you not kind of develop then a taste for it? It's like anything, you don't like the taste of it, but you do it enough,
you do.
You'll end up liking it, yeah.
And then you develop a taste for things like raw broccoli, and eating things raw. It's like everybody goes, "Oh, you're not even going to boil that." It's no, love it raw, because you're so used to that taste. It just tastes great in it, and then that gives you all the vitamins and nutrients you'll ever need. B12 is the one that I do take individually. B12 is a thing. Now it's nothing to do with I'm vegan. But B12 was one of the most important things you could have as a nutrition. But no one gets B12 nowadays. It is not even in cattle anymore. It is injected into them.
So it's artificially put in there.
Yeah, B12 is it's not from cattle. It's actually from a microbe. It's actually in the ground. But because we've been using pesticides and herbicides and all the rest of it, we have killed that. And because we cleanse everything and clean everything, and we have killed all these microbes that actually protect us in our gut and everything. So you have to try and get them back in. And that's why I take B12 individually, because everyone should take B12 now. It is very rarely in animals anymore because of that.
So that is the only supplement you take. But how did you? This is all about aligning with the right kind of people in terms of your health and your personal development. You obviously listen. Where did you learn that from?
I constantly educate myself about these things, and over the years, I keep taking all the information in from all different sources, and then I come to a conclusion about, okay, that's right. That's the same with my pension. It's like everybody was asking me at the weekend there now about how could you draw down your tax-free amount of your pension and still be able to put up to 60,000 back into your pension when you've drawn it down? I went, well, actually, there's a bit in the law, in the pensions law, which actually says that you can draw down the full amount, any amount of your tax-free allowance of your pension. Now, this is from Standard Life. So I learned this from Standard Life because I just double-checked with them before I did it. You can transfer it to a drawdown. You can draw down the tax-free amount. Remember and get advice. I am not an advisor here, but this is what happened for me. I drew down my tax-free amount completely, got that out tax-free, okay? And then I transferred the taxable element into a new fund, which has got lower fees, but exactly the same fund, by the way. So I've got lower fees on it, 0.65 a year, which is ultra low in comparison to everybody else. And as long as you don't touch that tax-free amount, you can still continue to put in up to 60,000 gross every year. I think that's going to be curtailed in the next 2 or 3 years by Rachel Reeves, or Thieves, aka Rachel Thieves, which has actually curtailed it and says you can't do that anymore because the bankers are putting their bonuses into pension funds and everything like that. So she's actually put a law in place in order, and she's changing it so you can't do that anymore. And some people, so speak to a pensions advisor about that. But that's how I was able to draw it down and still continue to put that amount of money back in and get the tax added back on. Cha-ching. And then I bought another house with it, the tax-free amount.
And that's just by seeking the right information.
So think about the logic of this. I got all the tax-free amounts, even from a company, put pension contribution in, got 25% corporation tax back on it because that's deductible, your contribution. And then I drew down that tax-free amount, and then I was able to buy a house with the tax-free amount.
Which is now going to then produce income.
Did I then just get a house for nothing?
Well, potentially, yeah. Well, you did, yeah.
I think I got a house for nothing off the government. Cha-ching.
Yeah, so that's, well, there you go. That's a good strategy. But then you wouldn't know that without the right information and seeking that kind of info about your pension and things as well.
It's becoming a student of life and reading the right things. I'm still reading Money, the Psychology of Money, Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Secrets of Wealth. But I've got another book I'm going to read, which is The Art of Spending Money, because there is an art to spend it, apparently. So I'm going to read that book. I've got Love Remixed by Mark Wilkinson, which is my neighbour, my pal for anybody outside Scotland.
That's
an old adage, yeah. Neebs. So he's done Love Remixed. So I'm looking forward to reading that as well. And yeah, there's a number of things I'm needing to do. So I'm going to be speaking Automatic Millionaire on the 19th of March at the Edinburgh Pin. Glasgow Pin will be as well. I'll be talking about something else completely different. So speaking at the Pin about being an automatic millionaire. You could literally do nothing. You could just do this as an automatic and you'd be an automatic millionaire, irrespective of what you're doing in life. I think personally. It's a foregone conclusion. The problem is everybody thinks it's so easy, they don't do it. It's like the first step in the marathon. Unless you take the first step, you'll never be a marathon runner. Unless you take that first sprint, unless you do that first 5K, you'll never be a marathon runner. And everybody thinks that's so easy, so they don't do it, and therefore that's why they fail.
They've failed at the first hurdle, basically, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't realise, because it's so simple. If I told you, I mean, Jordan Peterson talks about this in one of his podcasts, how he managed to get somebody out of their room. It had been living in their room for their whole life. They were terrified to go to their room. And it was something to do with the fact that they put the Hoover in the room for one day, just the first day.
Right.
And that's all they did. And then the next day, what they did was they plugged the Hoover in the wall. And then the next day, what they did was they switched the Hoover on. They got the person to do that. That's all they did. And then the next day, they did something else minuscule. 30 days later, he was out of the house.
Because, do you think that's because it's given them that sense of, I could do this, achievement?
Yeah.
Like,
but that's how they got. That's how they did it. They didn't go by next week, you're going to be at this house. What they did was, let's do this. They didn't actually set an end goal. They says, let's do this, because they knew that was going to lead to that. So this is why I talk about the automatic millionaire. It's like, let's do these small steps in the beginning, and this will automatically work for you, because it's a foregone conclusion. That's how I started. It was a spreadsheet. It was literally a spreadsheet. I'd actually written it down, and I kept it in my pocket. I'd just written it down. I never did a spreadsheet as such, but it was on a bit of paper manually. Yeah. And I just said, well, if I have that in there, I'll be able to do a mortgage at 90% loan. There was 90% loan to value at that time, buy to let. So I could do 90% loan to value. I actually got 100% loan to value from the bank in the very beginning. But that's another story. You could still do that today. Actually, I still do actually get 100% loan from the bank. I still do. So that's how I did it. So all these different things in the very beginning, I did all these wee things, and I thought, if I do all these things in the very beginning, then that's what I'm going to get at the end. So all I needed to do was work out is how quick I could do these. So
and that's just as simple as having them on a bit of paper to keep it at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, I would say I got temporarily ambitious to become permanently lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I got temporarily ambitious to become permanently lazy. That's all I did.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
And that's what having the right people on your side, having the right mentors on your side, and and associating with the right people, and listening to the right podcasts, and reading the right books. Read the right books, for God's sake. This is the thing, you see. A lot of people is like, when I left school, just like me, when I left school, I'd vowed I'd never read another book again. As soon as somebody retired at 25 years old said to me, "You need to read books in order to become very wealthy," give me that book. Where is it? Because I was listening to a 25-year-old who had retired financially free and never work again, never in his life, as a PT instructor from the RAF. And I'm like, you've obviously done something right that I don't know about.
Definitely.
I am all ears. Tell me what I need to do. Sometimes I wouldn't believe him because it was so simple, but he was right.
Yeah, and I think there's so many good examples of the power of alignment, and like you say, it's aligning with the right people, and whether that's the right mentors, having the right team, podcasts, books, but it's making sure that they are right for what you're trying to achieve. Because you could listen to any podcast and read any books, but if it's not relevant to what you're trying to achieve or where you want to be, I think you have to be careful of that, because you could take advice from the wrong people or the wrong outlets.
Driving a car.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take an example of driving a car. This is what it's like. Mentors, functions, podcasts, books. That's it. You lose one of them, you're on the reliant Robin.
Yeah.
They're no easy to drive, are they? You
I've
lose
never
one of them.
Never driven one, but I could imagine.
Lose one of them, you're on a bicycle, aren't you? And you lose one of them, and you've basically you're on a unicycle. And how effective is that going to get you to get anywhere? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why you have to have the four. You have to have the four pillars in this whole, or the four wheels on the car in order to do this, in order to achieve this. This was Dave Butler that actually taught me this. Dave, happy birthday, Dave. It's his birthday day, actually, Dave Butler. But Dave Butler was one of the ones that stood on stage and actually taught me this. And actually, when I spoke to him in person, was actually taught me as well. Dave Butler was another one who was actually retired financially free. Never at work again. Royalty-based income. I'm like, what? How did you manage that? Tell me more. Tell me everything. And that's what he said. Plug yourself into the system. Seminars, books and tapes, uplines. And you know, these are the things that you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I hope anybody tuning in obviously has got some content from that. I mean, like Jim says, certain things to speak to the right people, but these are the main things you need to think about, and aligning with the right people in order to achieve not just your business goals, but your personal goals and things as well, whether that's your health or things like that as well. They all intertwine and help you become successful and ultimately build wealth, and that's what it's all about.
These and you've got a bit at the end of here written on this, and actually I'll read it out. And
Okay.
this is the
I didn't know if I had much time. That was all.
Yeah, but this is the most important thing to remember. This is what I would end on. Even ordinary actions can lead to extraordinary outcomes. And you notice how extraordinary. It's an ordinary person. It's doing just that little bit extra each time. It compounds to the extraordinary results. That's what it's all about. Just ordinary. And people just cannot believe it's so simple, and yet it is.
Yeah, and I think that people think you know, people think that's not for the likes of me, I can't do that. The people that are extraordinary just started out as somebody ordinary. So yeah, anybody could do it. You just need to apply yourself. So thanks for that, Lucinda. I'm glad you've been watching today. Right, we will wrap it up there for today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. You can catch us on the reruns. And of course, if you've got any questions, my email is attached to the link, and you could drop me an email at any time. And until next week, we will see you then. Thanks for that, Jim.
Bye for now.
Cheers. Bye.